You know, a lot of people think cooking with freeze-dried food, especially individual ingredients, is really difficult. Today I'm going to show you nothing could be further from the truth. Today we're making 4-ingredient hamburger casserole, and this is the easiest casserole you will ever make. Let's check it out. Alright folks, welcome back. Before I begin, I want to remind you guys, if you use my freeze-dried wholesaler link down below, you're going to save 15% on your order. So if you see anything in this video, or you see the huge diversity of stuff that he has on the website, feel free to click the link down below. It'll be the first link in the description, and you can check it out, and you'll save 15% just for using my link. Can't beat that. So today we're going to make this 4-ingredient hamburger casserole. The cool thing about this is it's kind of going to have a taste of hamburger. Just by eating the casserole, it's going to taste like you're eating a hamburger. I have tried this before with regular food, not with freeze-dried stuff, and it comes out really, really good. Again, it's not health food, this is survival food. This is an awesome meal for when you come home, you're not feeling up to cooking, or when you've had a really busy day after some kind of emergency or disaster and you don't feel like cooking. Boom, here you go, real simple. So the 4 ingredients. I'm going to show you here what I'm using. Now, first off, the only thing that isn't freeze-dried wholesalers, and I'm sure you could probably use their tomato powder, is the Campbell's tomato soup. Now, why am I using Campbell's? I've found the knockoff tomato soups don't taste very ketchup-y when you're putting all this together and you taste it. This will kind of, when you bake it, and that's why I have the oven out here, this will kind of have a consistency and flavor of ketchup, which is really cool. It's like I said, it's like eating a cheeseburger out of a casserole, so it's really neat. So next up, and this is your option really, you could make this a 3 thing. Not a 5 thing. Next up, you can do it this way. You can do with freeze-dried mozzarella cheese and cheddar, or you can just keep the mozzarella cheese or just the cheddar. I chose to combine both because I like the kind of flavor it has. Next up, and you'll notice I have rehydrated some of this stuff already. That's why this thing is empty. Freeze-dried penny pasta. You can use any of his types of pasta. This is just a bag I had open that was kind of low. I wanted to use it up. And lastly, of course, freeze-dried ground beef. Now, I have hydrated all this stuff, so let's take a look at what it looks like once it's hydrated. Then we're going to fire up the stove, and I'll give you a little information on the stove because I always get questions on it when I use it. It is a propane stove. You can see the green propane can there. And we'll mix this all together, and I'll show you just how simple this really is. All right, so we're back. Everything's hydrated. Like I do with the cheese, I just stick it in a bag, minimal amount of water, just enough to wet it, and then I stick it in the fridge for about an hour. And both cheeses came out perfect. This, of course, is the pasta. Very easy to use. This is like the bottom of the barrel, so I'm getting a little broken pieces in it. But that's okay because we're putting it in a casserole, so it doesn't need to look pretty. And, of course, the beef. You give it about 25 minutes in some water, and it's nice and hydrated. Now, what we're going to use for a casserole dish today, it's not a traditional dish, is what came with this oven, and we'll talk about the oven in a sec. And that's just this little round pan. And I put some Pam in there to kind of keep it from sticking too badly. This oven, let me lift up the camera a little bit and show it to you. Now this oven was for sale, I believe. I purchased this, I want to say in 2004 in Walmart. They are no longer for sale. Maybe if you hunt down on eBay you might be able to find one. But these things are awesome, I gotta tell you. They're so much better than the foldable Coleman ones that you have to regulate on a stove. This thing actually, you can regulate it with the heat back there with the regulator on top of the gas. Just plugs in there. It's a propane oven. Very easy to use. And believe it or not, I've used this a whole lot. I've even used this in a couple videos making bannock bread and regular biscuits and stuff. And it's held up very, very well. I haven't had a single problem with it. So we're going to preheat this oven. We're going to get it going. I want it up to, I believe it's about 375. And then we'll have it ready to go. Now you got to pay attention to this. If you just put it halfway up, it's going to go up to like 500 and you're never going to have it go to the right level. So you kind of have to pay attention to it. You have to keep an eye on the gas use. But all in all, very, very easy item to use. Really cool too. And it has its own self-igniter on the side. So we're going to get that fired up once I get this stuff. And then we'll mix this together. And I'll show you how it's all coming together. Alright, so it's rolling in there. I have it on the 2nd level right now. It is a little dusty inside there. But that's okay. It's been sitting out here for a while. Anyway, this is what we're going to do. I'm going to take everything and I'm going to mix it in a bowl. Okay, I'm probably going to use the noodle bowl to start with. And I'm going to mix in a little of the beef. I made a little too much beef, but that's alright. Although it might be a perfect amount. I don't know. Let's see. Mix it all together. Yeah, that's about right. I guess I'll throw in the last of it. Don't want to waste it. This will probably be my dinner tonight. So after I make it, I'll taste it and then put it in the fridge. Okay, so there we go. We got that mixed in. Next up, we're going to put in some of the cheese. Now, just a little bit, because I want to top this with cheese as well. So I want to mix in, like, say, half the cheese. And as you can see, this stuff hydrated really nicely. And it's going to be a little messy here. Oh, I had it open. There we go. So I'm just going to put in about half of it, just to mix it in so it blends in nicely. And there we go. Pretty simple to put together. And I did wipe the counter off before I started cooking out here, so you don't think I had that going there. All right, next up we are going to do the Campbell's tomato soup. I'm going to dump it in there. I am going to mix that up with a spoon. All right, and I will move this over here because I realized I was out of camera. Now what you're going to do with this is just mix it in, okay? You're going to mix this in here without using anything else. I'm just going to mix it in there. You may need to use a thing here. Just mix it in like that. You almost want it to have the consistency of ketchup. Okay, I'm going to get all that out of there. Now normally if you were making this as a soup, of course you'd add a cup of water to it and all that. We're not doing that today because I want the thicker consistency of it. I may add a little bit of water just to get the remaining stuff out of here. Just quickly. Just to swirl it around a little bit. And remember, we're going to be mixing this all up, so no big deal. Yeah, I just want to get the last of it. Okay, so there you go. Now, I'm going to mix this all together in here, as messy as it may be. And we're going to toss it in there once it's in a pan and cover it up. So that's really it. This is the most difficult process of the whole thing, just mixing it together. Just like that. You want to kind of make sure that you coat everything with the red sauce. It actually smells really good too. It smells like ketchup. Kind of weird. You don't expect tomato sauce to smell like that, or tomato soup to smell like that. All right, let's get it in a pan and let's get it in the oven. We're about almost 200. I'd say 180 on the thing. So we're going to let that heat up, get it in a pan, and get going. And I am going to move this pan because it's on top of the oven and it'll get extremely hot. So let's get it in there. Now the important thing to remember is because everything is cooked in this, we don't need to brown up the meat. If you're making this with raw hamburger, of course you want to brown it up. But that's what makes this so easy and so cool. It's so simple just to literally hydrate everything and throw it in a dish. Now I don't know if this pan is going to be big enough or small enough, I should say. Actually, no, that's spread out pretty good. There we go. As usual, after one of my cooking videos, I'm going to need to run the vacuum out here because I'm making a mess on the floor. So there it is, okay? Now, all we're going to do to finish is add in the rest of the cheese. Okay? I'm just going to dump it in there. Okay. There we go. And the rest of the mozzarella cheese. You can use any kind of white cheese you like. If you check out Freeze-Dried Wholesalers, you'll see he has tons of different types of cheeses. I'm going to mix it around a little bit to cover it up. Then we're almost at, I would say we're at 250 right now. So I'm going to pop it in anyway and get it started for you. And when it's all done, we will come back and we'll try it out and see what it's like. All right, popped it in there. There you go. Getting ready. Now I just got to keep an eye because remember we want this at 375. So we got to kind of keep an eye on it, and when it gets a little too high, you'll turn it down. Gets a little too low, you'll get the hang of it. It's not really that annoying. You just have to keep an eye on it because maybe we'll hit 350 if you don't. Maybe you need to turn it down once in the entire baking process. Now you'll need to do this for about 20 minutes. You can cover it with foil if you want. It kind of holds the heat in. I may do that depending on how well this thing bakes, but it's about a temperature now, so we're going to see how we like it. If I do cover it with foil, I'll let you know, but we're going to see how it works just by sticking it in there. That way you're not using anything extra. We're trying to do this as minimally as possible, so I'm not using a ton of extra resources to make something. All right, bring you back in a few minutes. Let's see how this cooks up. All right, so let's take a look and see what we got in here. I'm pretty sure it's ready, but it's been about 25 minutes, so pretty sure it's ready. Let's take a look and see what we got. First thing I want to do is shut off this stove. Let me go around the other way. All right, so it's off. We heard it turn off. Here we go. This does have an odd pull when you pull it down. It's like, that is hot. Okay, Right now people are going, yeah, no kidding, it's hot. It's the stove. All right. Let's get it down here and take a look and see what this is going to look like. Let me open this up. I did check it before. Wow, that looks awesome. That looks absolutely awesome. All right. Let me zoom you in here and we'll get a look at what that looks like up close and personal. So the coolest part about this is you really don't need to use up a lot of your fuel because you're really not cooking this, you're just heating it up. Even if you have to cook hamburger, if you do this with hamburger you might have stored already that's raw, you don't have to cook in the oven all that much. So you don't really need to use too much fuel with it. So let's take a little taste here and give you a close-up look. That does look good. Let's be careful about how hot it is. That is amazing. Let me chew. That is absolutely amazing. That came out so good. And quite a bit, as you can tell. I mean, that's quite a bit of food. I didn't really think that in this smaller pan that it would come out as good as a casserole. But that is really awesome. And I gotta say, the tomato soup really does make it taste like ketchup. So it tastes like you're eating a cheeseburger casserole. So that's a really, really simple idea. Easy way to cook a simple meal for you and your family during an emergency or disaster. Again, not health food, you know, you're not going to win any awards for your cholesterol and all that, but it's definitely a good solid meal that will fill you up. Another thing that I think people forget when we're talking about prepper food is you're going to be moving a whole lot more and you're not going to be just sitting on your couch watching the collapse. Although we did recently have where everything was shut down and they told you to stay at home and watch TV. You're not going to be doing that as much. You're going to be outside, you're going to be moving around, maybe working in your garden. There's going to be a lot more that you're going to be burning calorie-wise. So, well, you may want to look for something a little more calorie-dense when you're dealing with a post-apocalyptic meal. But I got to say, that came out really, really good. Really easy to make, as you can tell. Just 4 ingredients, and with the can, it's 5. So if you wanted just one type of cheese, maybe you just want mozzarella or jack or just cheddar or whatever, you can do that too. Make sure you check out their variety. They got so much stuff there on Freeze-Dried Wholesalers. There is so much of a variety as far as cheeses, meats, everything, cooked and uncooked. So it's definitely worth your time to check them out and see what it's all about. And again, like I said, the oven that I used, that's an old Brinkmann oven. You're probably never going to find that one for sale anywhere. Unfortunately, they discontinued it right after. But it came out good, and you can do this in anything. I mean, you can do this over a fire if you really had to. If you placed it high enough and covered the top, you know, maybe you could get it going over a fire. Because really, you're not cooking anything. You're just melting everything together. And that was really, really good. So anyway, folks, I hope you enjoyed the video. The link down below for Freeze-Dried Wholesalers will save you 15%. Check them out. Also, too, don't forget, at the end of this month, which is basically a week away, we're going to be drawing for that dessert drawing, okay? Somebody's going to have a first, second, and third place win there for some awesome desserts from Freeze-Dried Wholesalers. So I will put a link to that video down below underneath the Freeze-Dried Wholesaler link itself. And you can go there, just leave a comment on that video and get yourself entered to that thing too. Now, if you're watching this video a year from now, that contest is over. But if you're watching it today, go sign up and get your name on that list. Anyway, folks, I thank you for watching. Don't forget to check out all our links down below. And stay safe and stay prepared.